Michael, most of your life sounds insane.
Yeah, that's true, but this one's a little different. I don't know.
Okay. Different how?
Because with the dream journal thing, the deja vu, all that, I can at least pretend there's a logical explanation. I just haven't found it yet. But this one I can't explain away, and I've tried. Trust me, I've tried.
Okay. So tell me what happened.
Okay, I was 33. Nice number. I was spiritually exhausted. Intellectually, I'd been searching for years at that point.
Searching for what?
Answers, real answers, not have faith, you will know answers, not like that. I grew up Catholic, like intensely Catholic, altar boy for 10, 12 years, studied with the Jesuits for 4 years in high school, the whole ritual, the structure, certainty, I loved it. Until I started asking questions they could not even come close to answering.
Wow. Okay. Like what?
Why does suffering exist? What is consciousness? Why in the hell are we here? What actually happens when we die? Actually, not what some institution says or speculation. What actually happens? And every time I asked, I got the same non-answers. It's a mystery. God works in mysterious ways. Have faith.
That wasn't enough, was it?
Nope, it stopped being enough because I wasn't asking as a rebellious teenager. I was simply asking because I genuinely needed to understand. These weren't casual questions for me. They were the only questions. So I went looking. Kundalini, Buddhism, Sikhism, theology, Madame Blavatsky, magic, druids, everything, every path that had pieces, but nothing was complete. Nothing answered all my questions. And after a decade, I was really done.
Wow. Done searching?
Yeah, done believing there was an answer to find at all. Done trusting that feeling of this might be it. Oh my God, because I'd felt that the feeling I had a dozen times and I've been disappointed every single time.
Then you went to a bookstore.
I really wasn't looking for anything, just wandering through, those days where you're just moving through the space because you don't know what else to do, just doing it.
Yeah. Sure.
Anyway, it was like that. I felt empty, wrong, wrung out. And I'm walking down the aisle, shelves packed, floor to the ceiling, nothing looking, not really looking at anything, just kind of walking. And then I noticed something. There was one book on the shelf to my right. My eyes catch it. I see it. I don't know why. It's not glowing or calling to me in some mystical bullshit way. It's just registered.
Okay. So did you stop?
No, I kept walking. And maybe 3 or 4 seconds later, it fell. The book actually fell off the shelf right in front of me.
Whoa, whoa. The same book.
Yes, the same book.
The one you were just looking at, the one you just noticed.
It just fell right at my feet, like it had been waiting for me.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Well, we need to stop right there because I don't think you're treating the moment with the insanity it deserves. A book fell off the shelf directly in front of you. The specific book
Right.
your eyes landed on 3 seconds earlier, and you're telling it like it's a minor detail. You spent 10 years searching, 10 years,
Right.
and a book literally falls at your feet. That's not a coincidence. That's something else entirely. How is that not the craziest part of this entire story? What was happening in your body when the book hit the floor?
My heart stopped because somewhere underneath all the rationalizations, some part of me actually knew, like a recognition before my brain could even form a sentence. Something in me went completely still, and I knew.
Wow. Okay. And then the brain kicked in.
Then the brain kicked in, the usual.
Okay. What? With what?
That's not what this is. Books fall. They sometimes fall. Shelves aren't level. This is a busy store. People walk past. There's vibrations, physics. All this is going on.
Okay. How long did you stand there?
Long enough that it was weird, like objectively weird. I'm not just standing in the middle of an aisle staring at a book on the floor.
Right. What was the argument inside your head? What was actually going on?
It was like two people screaming at me, or screaming really at each other. One side saying, hey, pick it up. You noticed it before it fell. It landed right in front of you after 10 years. Please pick up the book. And the other side saying, don't you dare. Yeah, exactly.
After 10 years of searching, so worn down with the possibility of an answer, An answer was scarier than having no answer.
That's exactly what it was, and I know how that sounds.
Wow, it sounds human.
Yep,
It sounds like someone who's been burned many times before, trying to protect themselves from the thing they actually want.
yep, exactly.
You're a rational person. You believe in evidence. The evidence in front of you, was a book that fell out of the sky,
Yep,
essentially.
I know.
So, like, what are the odds you notice a specific book and 3 seconds later it's on the floor in
Yep.
front of you? That's not just the coincidence that you dismiss. So, what was the actual reason you didn't immediately pick it up?
Well, hmm, because I had really learned to distrust the feeling more than I trusted the evidence.
Okay, okay. You want to say a little bit more?
Yeah, okay. Every single path I'd followed had a moment like this. Not actually like that, but nothing exactly like this, but a moment
Hmm.
where it felt like, okay, this is it. Oh, this is
Wow.
the real thing. It's finally here.
Okay.
Kundalini had a moment like that. Buddhism had a moment like that. The mystical traditions all had moments like that. And every single time that feeling turned out to be the beginning of a very, very long, exhausting ride that ended in the same place. Me sitting somewhere alone with the same unanswered questions.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So the feeling itself became the red flag.
The feeling itself became evidence against the thing. If I felt that strongly
Hmm.
pulled towards something, I had learned to be suspicious of it because that pull had failed me before.
That's a brutal place to be.
Standing there, book on the floor, knowing something was happening and not being able to let myself believe it.
Wow. Okay. Did any part of you even think for a
Hmm.
second that maybe this was different?
Yeah, that was the other voice.
Oh, now what was the other voice
It was
saying?
saying you've never had a book fall at your feet before. You've never noticed something and then watched it come off the shelf 3 seconds later. This is different. The mechanics alone are very different.
But you didn't listen to it.
Not yet. I wasn't ready.
How do you walk away from a moment like that? Like physically? Did you turn your body and walk around the other way or?
You tell yourself a story. You tell yourself you're being rational. Okay. You over rationalize it, overgeneralize. You tell yourself that people who see signs everywhere are people who lost their grip on reality. You tell yourself you're smarter than that.
Or you simply tell yourself the librarian can pick the book up. That's her job.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay, you're absolutely certain the whole time you're making the wrong decision.
Yeah, the whole time. I'm sure. I got all the way to the front of the store, almost out the door. Fear of regret, not hope, not curiosity, just the fear that I'd spend the rest of my life wondering what was in that book. So I turned around at the front of the store, walked back down that aisle, and
Okay.
it was still there on the floor, right where it fell.
Wow. All right. What was the book?
It was about Eckankar.
Tell us more.
Okay. It's a spiritual path about soul travel, about inner experiences, direct personal connection with the divine. No priests and there's no intermediaries, just you.
And you picked it up.
Yeah, and I stood over it for a minute, and that's what I recognized, the word Eckankar. And I had seen the word in with studying with the Sikhs. The first word in the Granth Sahib, their
Hmm.
sacred book, first word is Eckankar, which means one reality, one path, one way.
Okay.
Yeah. And so
Wait, I got to ask you. So you pick up this book, and the name on the book is the same word as that word.
correct. And that was a tremendous
Oh
coincidence,
my gosh.
synchronicity, kismet, whatever you want to call it. And I went, whoa, what is that? That's the word from where I studied with the Sikhs in their sacred book. It was spelled a little differently, a couple letters different, pronounced the same,
Hmm.
Ekankar.
Hmm.
And I went, what the hell? And that was leading me on. At that point, I realized I needed to examine this book a little more in detail and stay open.
Okay. So this was really, in this moment, this was the synchronicity.
Yeah.
This was really the sign.
Yes, this was the sign. This was connection. This is pure quantum physics. Everything's connected. And it was literally saying, "Pay attention,
Right?
like, wake up, everything's connected. Here you go. This is what you've been asking for." So I started reading it right there in the aisle.
Okay. And tell us more.
Within the first paragraph, something shifted.
Okay, what do you mean shifted?
It was like the questions I'd been carrying for 10 years suddenly had shape, like someone had taken everything I'd been reaching for and just named it.
Oh,
There it is.
whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay.
And I stopped right
Mhm.
there in the aisle and I read it again and again.
Okay. The first paragraph?
Yeah, the very first paragraph.
Why?
Because I didn't trust it. I really didn't. I didn't trust that it resonated.
Okay. So even though there was this huge sign, it's the same name, and you still had some doubts.
Yes, I did. I still had doubt.
Okay. So now what?
So I kept reading,
Mhm.
but I was reading like a prosecutor, looking for the holes in the case, looking for the moment where it all fell apart, logically broke down,
Okay.
where it became just another system selling itself
Wow.
again.
Okay. And okay, all right.
And it didn't break down. No, it didn't break
Oh,
down at all.
wow.
Page after page, I
Mhm.
kept waiting for the thing that would let me put it down, and it did not come.
Wow. Okay. So what was it actually saying that was different?
That's the thing. It's hard to explain without making it sound like every other spiritual path. All
Okay.
right.
Well, let's try. You got to give us something.
Okay. Every tradition I'd explored before had answers that required you to first accept their framework, tradition. Okay, this was different. It
Mhm.
wasn't asking me to accept the framework first. It was starting from the inside, from the different and direct experience, from the things I had already felt but didn't have language for.
Okay, this is great. Okay, like what?
Like the sense that consciousness is primary, that it doesn't come from the brain, it passes through. Like the feeling I'd had in
Mhm.
deep states that there was something underneath the waking reality, something more fundamental than waking reality.
Okay, whoa.
I'd had those feelings for years, and every tradition I explored, they either dismissed them or tried to fit them into their own existing framework or box. This was the first time I'd found something that described those experiences as the starting point, not the side effect, not mystical noise, the actual point.
Okay. And that's what hit you in the first paragraph.
That's what hit me in the very first paragraph.
Okay. So let's go a little deeper. Okay, so you read theology and Madame Blavatsky and you looked into the traditions, that specifically deal with consciousness, inner experience. How had you not encountered this one before? What do you think?
That's a question I asked myself,
And
and I don't have a clean, clear answer. I'd encountered pieces of
Mhm.
it before, but never the full picture assembled in a way that clicked.
Wow, okay.
It's like, imagine you've been looking for a puzzle
Mhm.
piece for 10 years, individual pieces, some of them beautiful, some of them clearly part of something
Mhm.
larger, but you can never see the whole image.
Whoa.
And then someone puts the box in front of you,
And so you can finally see what it's supposed to be.
and suddenly all the pieces you've been holding make sense, not because the pieces
Mhm.
changed,
Mhm.
but because you can finally see what they belong to.
Whoa, okay. So that's what happened in the
Yeah,
aisle
that's what happened.
that
Yes.
day. And all this in the midst of reading this first paragraph and
Yeah.
seeing the name on that book cover, Eckankar. Uh, this is either an extraordinary moment or you were finally ready to receive something.
I thought about that constantly. I did.
What do you think it is?
Probably both. But here's what I keep coming back to. I'd been ready before, I'd been desperate and open and willing before, and nothing landed like this. So the readiness alone doesn't explain it.
People were walking past, and you're just standing there in the aisle, having what sounds like an life altering experience.
Yeah, for 45 minutes, actually.
Nobody said anything. Nobody cared. You're in a bookstore. People stand in aisles. They read. It's not a big deal, you know.
But I wasn't really there. I mean, physically, I was there, but I was somewhere else entirely.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, you can imagine inwardly.
Like,
Inside the questions I'd been carrying for 10 years, except for the first time, they had answers actually attached to them.
wow, wow. So you bought the book. Well, I
Yes.
mean, or you checked the book out.
Yes,
I
I
mean,
did. I got the book. I went home. It's late. I sat down and started reading, and I could not stop.
What was happening?
Well, my heart was racing, hands were actually shaking, rereading passages because I couldn't believe what I was actually reading. It
Ah,
was answering
was
questions I'd carried for a decade, giving language to
mhm.
experiences I'd dismissed,
Oh, wow.
describing things I thought I was crazy for even considering. And I
Mhm.
felt kind of exposed, like someone had opened me up and written a book about what they found in me.
Oh, this is just
Yeah.
this is just extraordinary. Okay, so you never felt this way before. You never felt this before with any of it, with any religion, with any sacred book.
Never, never. 10 years and I'd never, ever felt that.
And of course you want it to be true. You want this to be the
That
solution.
that's a complicated question.
Well, let's try to answer it.
Okay, part of me desperately wanted it to be true because it was true. The
Right.
search was over and I was tired of searching. But another, I don't know, another part of me felt terrified that it was true.
Okay, terrified. That's an interesting answer. Why terrified?
Because if it was true, it meant starting all over again. Again, it meant another path, another deep dive, another complete restructuring
Wow.
of
Okay.
how I understood reality.
Okay, I get that. I totally
And
do.
I didn't know if I had it in me. I was 33. I was exhausted. I just wanted to be done.
So you were hoping, kind of in a way, that it would just fall apart because it's easier.
Right. Part of me was actively reading it, looking for the exit, looking for a paragraph that would let me say, okay,
Mm,
there it is. That's the flaw. That's where it breaks down. I can put this book
right,
down now.
right. Okay. And
And it didn't give me one. Nope.
must have been terrifying, but in a different way.
It was because now I didn't have an excuse.
You didn't have an excuse. Okay, tell us more.
Okay. I mean, when you're looking for something and you can't find it, you can tell yourself it doesn't exist. That's comfortable. That's a
You're
conclusion.
right.
But
Okay.
when you find something you've been looking for and it's sitting right in front of you and it's real, you can't pretend anymore. You have to decide what to do with it.
And hold on. You didn't want to decide, or you were just tired from deciding.
I sat there at 4 in the morning with this book in front of me and I genuinely thought about putting it on the shelf and never picking it up again.
Would that have been realistic?
No, certainly wouldn't.
No.
No.
I don't think so.
Because you can't literally unfeel something that's already hit you that deeply. That's the deal.
Yeah. So what were you thinking?
This changes everything in my life, and I didn't want it to. I was so tired of everything changing.
Okay. Well, that makes sense, So what happened the next morning?
I got deep into it. I started practicing, started having experiences I couldn't even explain, real shifts, real insights. Life moved in different directions,
Wow.
circumstances
Mm-mm.
changed. I stepped away for a while.
Okay. All right. Why?
I needed to let it settle. The book fell and completely changed the trajectory of my life. I can't unknow what I know now.
Okay. This. All right. That I get. I get.
I didn't ask for this. I didn't want it to be someone who sees reality as stranger than most people do. I really did.
But you are.
Yep. Yeah, I am actually. Eventually, I went back to it,
Mhm.
slower, more grounded, got what I needed from it. At some point, you stop following the map and you just walk.
Oh wow. I love this. Okay. Do you still think about that moment?
Yes, the book falling, absolutely. Books don't just fall, not with that timing, not directly in front of someone at the exact moment they're spiritually exhausted and out of answers. That generally doesn't happen.
You think you were supposed to find that book?
Yes, I think the book actually found me. The book
Wow.
found me.
Holy moly. Okay. And does that bother you, or does that give you peace?
I like being in control. Okay.
Yes. Well, but you did pick it up.
The book fell. I almost walked out the door and I came back. Everything in my life changed.
The book found you.
Yeah.
So essentially, the book found you.
Yes, the book found me. It did and led me down a complete new path in life.
Wow. Wow. Thanks so much. Don't forget to subscribe, share, stay sharp. Trust your gut.
And save your ass.